Call them touchline tigers.
Touchline tigers.
Joystick. Yeah. What a waste of time.
Oh, that's funny.
Like, you should have your team so organized that you should be able to sit down and let them play and then make certain points. Now, does that take a little bit of time? Is there going to be a point where you do have to stand up and organize your group? You know what I mean? But that coach that runs up and down the sideline and screaming and yelling, and I mean, I've seen. It's like it's.
Enough said.
Yeah.
I like what is it? Sideline tigers? What does he say?
Touchline tigers.
Touchline tigers?
Yeah, we got touchline tigers over here, and we got touchline tigers over there. Some of the parents are touchline tigers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
How's it going, guys? This is Coach Ricky and this is Coach Chris. Welcome
up,
back
guys?
to Training Ground. Woo! Let's go. The podcast for coaches, trainers, and soccer people who actually want to develop players the right way. Isn't that right?
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Today, we're going to be talking about how to coach, the difference between running drills and developing players.
Okay.
We're going to try to focus on, just kind of points, help other coaches, players kind of understand how their sessions should feel and how the sessions should go. And if you're actually being developed or if just somebody is just standing and making you run. So we're going to get into it and then, let's start.
All right.
All right,
Cool.
First thing, boss.
Yes,
We're going to break it down.
Okay.
All right. What describes a good master coach? A few points if you have to say.
Couple of things. Communication, showing, not telling. So demonstrations are really, really important. So you're going to take the kid and you're going to help them understand by showing them and giving them a good demo. I see a lot of coaches just tell and are lazy and don't show, and that's not going to work. So the master coach will take, if he or she has a group, they're going to take the group, they're going to do the exercise, and then let's say it's a skill drill or a dribbling exercise, and then they're going to watch to see who the best kids are, and then get that kid to demo after they've, obviously they've demoed themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And then the lesser kids in the group, the kids that don't have it quite yet, will obviously now see that the player can do it and the coach can do it, and they start to get it and want to get involved as well.
Right.
If you're doing a private session, again, you got to show, not tell. You got to really demonstrate what you're about to teach them.
Right.
And the communication is important, and then inside the drill, seeing little things. You can have one drill and do 20 things.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I know that's a little bit boring, and some kids will get bored with that, and they're like, he does the same drill over and over again, but I could coach probably 5 topics in that drill.
Sure.
Yeah.
So
So the really good coach, a lot of coaches will collect drills, and I only collect drills because I get bored myself, so I'm just looking for another way to teach certain topics, and so the kids don't get bored. So that's kind of the way I operate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I agree. I think I learned a lot when I came here, kind of from you, that talking less is doing a lot more than talking a lot.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I would say maybe showing, letting the kids also kind of like get their rhythm with it,
Sure.
rather than every 5 seconds, dot.
Correct.
Let them show them,
Great point.
let them adapt,
Yep.
and then you can just kind of nitpick the details. Like,
Absolutely.
okay, these are just the details. And
Right.
how important are details, boss, for every coach?
Extremely. I mean, this is what you're seeing now. You're seeing kids that. Do you want me to go into examples of details?
100%.
Okay. So, the places that I see kids struggling these days are, one, with their plant foot. It could be with passing, shooting, dribbling, anything. They have a real struggle with their plant foot, and they don't put it where it should go on a shot. And I even encourage them to push the plant foot a little bit forward past the ball, especially if the ball's rolling.
Right.
Because you got to catch up with the ball and then plant past it a little bit. Even if you're hitting a dead ball, try to overstep it a hair, not because you're being told your whole life to step the plant foot right next to the ball. But if you miss and it just goes a hair back, that's a bad shot.
Mm-hmm.
You see it in passing where they don't step their plant foot, so they don't get their body over the ball, so they don't deliver any pace to the pass. Now, obviously, depending on where the other player is and how much they need to give. But if it's a 15-yard ball or 10-yard ball, You got to get it there.
Yeah.
You see it in volleys. They don't lock their ankles. You see that in shooting. You see that in passing. They can't lock their ankle. Then there's the little details in the dribbles. You know, they use their toes and their heels when they pass or when they dribble. So they're not using the inside of the foot or the outside of the foot where the touch is very smooth. So we correct all those things. So there's tons of those little things that need to be corrected. And if you're only focused on tactics and in training, you're not going to correct those little details. And those are the things that make your tactics better, because if a kid can get their head up, if they can identify what's coming, if their passes are smooth and they get there and they're accurate, that's the other thing, is accuracy, you're going to have a better player. So yeah, I harp on those details all the time. Yeah, you got a few yourself, I'm sure.
Yeah, of course. You know, number one, I would say probably is looking up. You know, I learned a long time ago that if you're gonna keep looking at the ball, you don't know what's ahead of you.
Right.
You know, you don't know what's coming. I mean, I get it now. You got to look at the ball sometimes and make sure
Sure.
you keep it under your feet and you have it. But you got to know. You got to be aware of your environment.
Yep.
You know, so I always try to teach a kid, don't be dumb. Don't look down.
Yep.
Be aware of your
Yep.
environment.
Get your head up.
Yep. Yep.
Check your shoulders.
Yep.
Make sure you're stepping to the ball when you pass it.
Yep.
On your first touch.
Yeah.
That's another one. They leave their foot hanging out,
Yeah.
and the ball just hits their foot and bounces away, where they should be bringing that foot up early and then going down a little bit.
Cushioning it.
Yeah, cushion or
Yeah.
jumping back. Same
Yeah.
on a ball out of the air.
Yeah.
You know, thigh volley, they'll pop it too high,
Yeah.
where it should just come onto the thigh,
Right.
or pushed off a little bit if it's direct. Chest, same thing. Touches out of the air. I mean, all these little things, they have to be honed, and
Yeah.
we're not doing it.
Yeah.
We're getting a lot of kids coming in here, and they're not being taught
Yeah.
proper technique, and I don't agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now we're speaking to a lot of players and coaches,
Yeah.
Even parents, right?
Yeah.
And what do you have to say to people like coaches that are starting early and kind of still learning the ropes and stuff? What should they kind of bring to their sessions? What kind of environment should they create? What type of I would say mentality should they go with, the approach?
Well, there's a lot of approaches out there right now. I know the big one is play, train, or play, teach, train, and I'm not a big fan. What I'm being told is that you shouldn't. You should play a little bit, then teach a little bit, then play a little bit. And I get that playing can get you to that point, and the kids need to play the game. I understand that. But if a kid is new to the game and they don't know how to do half these skills, and you're just going to play and then teach a little bit, then play again, to me, you're not going to cover all the little skills and things that need to be really honed. So I don't get that method. I would rather do technical, 30 minutes of technical, and you can play fun games with them and they can get into it, and then you teach in that, and then go to the play thing. My model is that, because I just feel like I have to teach them how to hit a volley with the inside of the foot, how to pass a ball properly, how to bring a ball out of the air. And so I've always used 30 minutes. So you go in, you set up your session, where you have a warm-up, and then you do the technical side of it. And you can flip this around. You don't have to do this every session. If you're going to be working on some tactics or things like that. But when they're younger and they need those touches, you need to come out of your session having 2,000 or 3,000 touches in the first 30-40 minutes.
Right.
You know what I mean? So those kids are getting on the ball and they're touch. Because if you just play, if you look at an average game, how many times does a player get a ball? Yeah. So what are we trying to do there? So I don't agree with that one. So I go in, I set up my session, I have a warm-up, then I have a technical component, then I have a possession or small-sided or component to that, and then we move into a bigger game, or maybe it's some finishing. Sometimes I'll just take a whole session and work on finishing, just to get them to understand how to hit a ball. So these are all little things that I've learned along the way to be a more effective coach. So I know people say to me all the time, and I've heard it when I was a coach, when do you teach tactics? Well, a lot of that can be taught at game day.
Right.
You know, you might do some shape stuff with them during the week, but you can get their shape organized very quickly during the game. And so I would do it then, because if I only had 2 sessions a week to get this done, they need touches,
Right.
and thousands of them.
Yeah.
You know, to hone their skill and get better.
Yeah.
There's dribbling, there's 1v1 moves, there's footwork 1v1 moves, there's touches out of the air, there's trapping a ball, there's passing a ball and receiving a ball, there's shooting, there's all these little things, there's volleys, there's tons and tons of little things, and heading. And when I see kids coming in here and they're older and they can't do certain things, it baffles me.
Right.
You know, they can't hit a volley, they can't take a ball off their thigh and volley it, they can't take a ball off their chest and volley it. Stuff they should be doing.
Yeah.
They should have been doing
Juggling.
it at 13. Yeah, juggling is another one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got like, I mean, like 15 playing soccer,
Yep.
no juggles.
Yep.
You know,
Not good.
like no like disrespect. I mean, that's not the kid's fault in my opinion too. Somewhat, you know,
But if it's taught, you know,
Yeah.
if you're not in an environment where it's where we are, it's not cultural. It's not dad taking son out or
Sure.
brother taking
Sure.
brother out
yeah,
and teaching them to do those little things.
Yeah.
So we have to teach it.
yeah,
You know, where I came from, South Africa, it was cultural. I stood in a prior to school and watched kids do little header. You know what I mean? And I watched kids dribble, and I was like, okay, how did you do that? And I'd ask, you know, like, how'd you do that move? Or I would go and play for hours in the playground or off of walls, or I was always kicking a ball. You know?
that's the one thing I always wanted to do, boss. I
Yeah.
was just with these kids. I'm like, I really want to do this thing. So you just got to do it.
Yeah.
What about environment? You know, like what about great coaches? What do they want in their environment? How do they create certain environments? What kind of environment do you recommend that a coach should create? You know, to get a team or get a player going.
Well, the thing is you got to look at your group, and then you've got to design your sessions based on where they are. Because I know this much soccer. I heard this from a football coach one time. He said, I know this much football. They know this much football. So I've got American football. So I've got to go down to their level,
Right.
and I got to figure out where they are. So if they're U12, let's just say an example.
Sure.
They're U12 girls or U12 boys, and they're playing Division 2 or, you know, more rec soccer.
Sure.
You're going to have to create an environment that's a lot of fun, but at the same time you're teaching a lot of skills. So I would always I would play a fun game with them, then I would do skills, and then I would say, okay guys, if you guys do really, really well here, we'll play more fun games. And then I would set up little 2v2s and 1v1s and 3v3s so they're on a ball all the time. Not 5v5 or standing in lines where they're not touching the soccer ball.
Right.
And then from there, a little game, maybe some shooting, or, you know, so I would set the environment up for that group. So wherever you are, if you have a select team that's playing Division 1, U12, you know, obviously they're more technical, better kids. So how are you going to challenge them? You know, they can't be bored. They got to come in and they got to understand. You know, is it what do they need to get better at? Is it 1v1s?
Right.
Is it defending?
Right.
Is it possession? So now your session changes because they're better players. So you have to figure out what group you have, and then design your sessions based around what's going to help them. Because if I can get that U12 rec team to have fun and play and learn, and by the end of the season they're kicking butt and they're getting all these little touches,
Right.
we can. They'll start asking you, the coach, we can already do this. This is easy. They'll ask you, and then you can add more to what they're doing. You know what I mean? But you've come to their level. You've said, okay, this is how much soccer they know.
Right.
I don't need to teach them all this stuff. You know, 4-3-3 tactical.
Yeah,
boom,
yeah.
boom, boom. You go. I mean, I had a coach. I'm kind of a mentor to her. She's coaching at college, but she does some side stuff with teams. And she said they were U12 or U10 girls, and the coach was doing a session with a U.S. national team progression.
Wow.
And the girls were bored. I was
Yeah.
like, well, really?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They didn't understand what that
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
They don't understand what that is. You have
Yeah.
to come down and do things in a very simplistic
Right.
fashion to get them to understand. And you have
Right.
to teach them moves, and you have to play fun stuff with them, and they have to be excited, and they have to come to the games, and you high-fiving them, and you know,
Yeah.
you got to do all this fun stuff with them.
Right. Right.
You know, you got to make it enjoyable.
Right. Right.
So look at the age group, look at the level, and if you know, if you can't design that to help them, then hit me up. I've got tons of ideas.
Yeah. And that's why we're doing this. You know, like
Yeah.
we want to actually. Can we hear some of those ideas? You know, like.
Yeah, I mean, again, concentration games are the fun one.
Yeah.
If you're really stuck as a youth coach and you have a very simple group, get a book called A Baffled Parent's Guide to Youth Soccer, and it's by Bobby Clark. And Bobby Clark was the ex-Scottish international, played goalkeeper, coached at Stanford, and I loved this book because it had a whole section of just how to take and create habits for players that were brand new to the game. And so you're dealing with their habits,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So for example, if let's say you did a little fun game with them. Let's say you played tag, and you put them in a square, and they all have a penny, and two of them have a penny, and the rest don't, and then they have to run around and tag each other. But if you get tagged, you get the penny.
Mm-hmm.
So you're mimicking soccer movements. Then you add a ball to that, right? And then now they have to go and tag with, and if they get tagged, they have to stand there with the ball above their head, and the only way they can get freed is someone comes and megs them. You know, those little fun games.
Right.
And then afterwards you say, okay guys, you've got a water break now. So they run over and get their water, and you say, okay, I'll call you back. And then all of a sudden you go, okay, everybody back in. You got 30 seconds to get back in. And then you start playing a clapping game with them.
Right.
You know, so they're constantly engaged. They're having fun, and they're concentrating because you've set this tone for them.
Right.
And that's really important. You can do it with older kids too. They love it. And in fact, older kids used to tell me, Coach, why can't we do some of those fun games?
Right.
And I'll be like, sure, let's do it. You know. So a lot of try to add the fun in. Even teenage players need to have. You know, I used to do the one with the in push-up position, face to face with the ball there, and oh no, it was hands. They had to try to slap the hand away so they'd fall down. You know, and we would do stuff like that. You know, or it was knees, head, grab a ball. But just those little concentration games and a lot of fun. And I think if you're a young coach, play concentration games, do fun stuff with them, teach them skills, but they've got to be laughing and giggling and carrying on, and then you can get them to concentrate for 10 minutes. You know, and as they get better, they'll be able to concentrate longer. You know, in the beginning they're going to be goofballs. That's fine.
Yeah, they're still learning. Sport. What about what would you say to coaches that are trying to and obviously it's age dependent, but they create these environments where everything is tough, work, they're on them like that, screaming, loud, things we see that sometimes.
Yeah, we've all been guilty of it because we feel like we have to get them to work, and again, it's a real balance. The environment we're in, it's a little bit about winning, so you feel like you're pressured to have to get a result if you're a youth coach right now, which is tough. Whereas at 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, it should be about teaching them the game, and they should be getting technically better. So we've all been guilty. I've been guilty of yelling at kids or trying to get them motivated by using negative, and it always backfired on me. I don't think it's a way to go. I think you have to. There's a time when if they're just really really being bad, but if you've got your kids standing in lines and they're playing grab ass in the back and they're doing all this, that's your fault. You know what I mean? Because they're hyper and they want so get them on a ball, get each player on a ball, and go back to the original question. Sorry, I got lost.
More just environments where
they're screaming.
They're screaming. I've had coaches where they weren't really teaching us; they were just more yelling and telling us, do it. I'm like, what do you what?
What you want. Yeah, so that's a very interesting point. If I'm trying to coach, let's say I'm trying to coach my back three or back four, and the ball gets played out, and they're all standing back there watching, and they're leaving these big gaps. All right. So what I used to try and do was get the center backs to move the team up, but until the center backs understood what their role was and getting the team up so we could close the gaps and get into the other team's end, I had to coach it for them a little bit. Hey guys, you got to step now. So I'd stop worrying about the ball, and I'd get these 4 or 3 to move up quickly, and then the center back would go, okay, I get it now, and I'd say, hey, listen, you got to take charge. It's your job to get everybody up. And then if one wasn't listening, I was like, hey buddy, you gotta listen. You know, like you gotta step up with them. You know, he's trying to get you up. So there's lots of teaching and communication in that. So it's not necessarily screaming at them, but you would raise your voice a little bit, say up, 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 you know. And I actually got in trouble one day from a referee for that. She said I was being too negative, and I was just trying to get the team in the right place, which wasn't her job to tell me, you know, what to do or how to be. But I understand a coach's frustration sometimes, and then sometimes you get a little annoyed. If you've coached them to, I'll look at it this way, and this is what I heard from a really good coach. If you've coached them to do what they're supposed to do, and they're not doing it, that's the time that you can get on them, because they should know.
Right.
Like, so if those three need to step out of the back quickly, and they aren't doing it, I would look at them and go, hey, let's go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's a time you could maybe raise your voice, and they're all like, oh shoot, coach, sorry, coach, you know, get up, let's go, let's move up.
Yeah.
You know, now if you're just screaming at them and you haven't taught them to get out of the back, and you're like, what are you guys doing? You should be up here. And they're looking at you going, what do you mean? You know, what do you mean? That's different. So if you've coached them to do something, and they know what they're supposed to be doing, and they're just on an off day and having a problem, that's the time you can get on them a little bit, you know. Or they're goofing off in training and they know that this is the serious period.
Right.
You know, maybe you're doing some burpees or things like that. I'm not going to make them go run laps. But the biggest lesson I learned from the National Youth License was no laps, no lines, no lectures. Get them on a ball, get them out of lines, and get them touching the ball. And then you don't need long lectures. That's another one I've seen coaches do after games. Is keep them there for 20 or 30 minutes and lecture them. They're bored. They already heard you. They know what they know what they did wrong. They lost the game. Maybe they didn't play as well. Hey guys, we didn't do as well as we should have. There's things we got to fix. I'll see you on Monday. We'll work on it in training. And then at training, you can ask them, you know, hey, what do you think about the game this week? Coach, you know, we kind of messed this up and didn't do this right. Why do you think that happened? Well, we weren't paying attention in the warm-up. We kind of, okay, so now I'm going to get the work out of you.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or whatever it is, right? Yeah. So there's many ways to handle that, and we've all been guilty of losing our temper or getting mad or yelling. I've got a competitive streak. You've got a competitive streak. You want to win. You want to do well. But that's the art of coaching. It's learning that, you know, I remember getting into a team one day and I was a veteran coach and I winked at my manager and I go, watch this. And then I said, you think this is good enough? And they hadn't heard me yell yet. And so they're all just like, you know. So that had a real effect on the second half. Right. They kicked butt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Versus, because they weren't ready for that. Right. Because they hadn't heard it before.
Yeah, sometimes it could be like,
yeah, it can be a motivator.
You know?
Yeah,
it could
but
be.
But most of the time it's pat on the back. It's who you're going to kick in the butt. It's who you're going to, you know, put your hand around. It's who you're going to encourage. And that's not easy. Yeah. You know, you really have to think through your group and think through who can handle those things. Right. You know, and if you've got a kid that's not getting it, you know, take them aside and spend 10 or 15 minutes with them after training. Do some skill work with them. Do some extra footwork with them. I used to do it all the time. I'd say, okay, you guys are going to, I'd ask the parents, can they stay back for 10 minutes? And the parents were like, yeah. You know, I would do extra work with them. And that was me growing as a coach and learning what I had to do to really help my group and investing in them and bringing value to them so that they looked at me as a coach and went, wow. You know, and I didn't need the adulation. I wanted them to get better. Right. You know what I mean? Right. But it kind of comes with the territory. And if you get that adulation as a coach and your kids and parents are going, wow, we really love playing for Coach Chris or playing for Coach Ricky, you've done something right. Right. You know what I mean? Yeah. You're not going to be perfect, and they're not going to agree with everything. I had a parent in here tell me the other day, his older son played for this coach, and now his son's going to play for this coach. And he said, you know, he could be a little bit joysticky, but he's really, really good coach. You know, he'll sit on the kids a little bit, but that's the only thing he could find that was bad. And I was like, well, if that's the only thing he can find that was bad, that he's a little joysticky.
But does that mean like he's trying to control?
Yeah, maybe a little bit. Yeah. You know, okay, fine, man. You know, it's today's game, to be honest with you. Yeah. Coach up and down the sideline. Right. But if you're just standing on the sideline, I've heard a coach say, if I'm going to do that, and if they get 10% of what I say, I'm happy. I'm like, I don't know how you can actually have that philosophy.
Yeah.
I don't. They're not getting anything from you if you're just. They're not. They can't hear you. They're trying to play. Can you imagine trying to be in the middle of a game and the coach is on the sideline just going yep 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 yep. I would just look at them and go, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, that's crazy.
That's great.
We used to, in my B license course, I learned one really good coach, and he said what he would do with his players is he would say he would get up, he would make his point, and he wanted the player to do that.
Yeah.
So they heard, and then they could keep playing, and then he'd go sit back down.
Yeah.
He's like, they don't want to hear me anymore.
Right.
He goes, I need to shut up.
Yeah.
So I'd make my point, they'd go like that, and it actually turned into a joke with some of my teams.
Yeah.
They'd go, got it, coach. You know what I mean? Like, or, hey, got it, coach.
Yeah,
you know, and then they could keep playing, but you know. But it was a simple way to. It was a really good tool.
Yeah, I'm making a joke in here.
Yeah, go on.
You're like, you know, like when you say like, Ricky, can we get this? I was like,
yeah.
I heard you, boss.
Yeah, now we got it. See,
we got it.
Now we can be quiet.
Yeah. Okay. No, those are some solid points, and I think a lot of people can learn from that. Just kind of what to look out for.
The more you're in the trenches,
Yeah.
I've had young coaches ask me like, "What do I do?" And I said, "You got to just coach.
Yeah.
You just got to coach and coach and coach and coach and coach and coach till, and then one day you look up and you're like, really good at it.
Yeah.
You know, you got to take 15, 20 teams over a period of time.
Sure.
I mean, I had so many different age groups and levels. And figure it out.
Yeah.
You know, and go find other coaches and watch them. You know, and good coaches are thieves. They steal all the time. You know what I mean? Should all be in jail.
Yeah. So I want to dive into my next segment.
Yeah.
I'm calling it. So it's a little game, kind of still on the theme. It's called Coach or Cap.
Okay. All right.
So basically, I'm gonna give you some coaching takes, and you have to tell me if it's like valid or complete nonsense.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So first one. Players under 10 should almost focus entirely on ball mastery and creativity.
Valid.
Okay. A few points of why you think so.
Yeah. From U7 to U13, I've heard Arsene Wenger say is the ideal time for kids to get thousands of touches on the ball. So when they get to U14, 15, 16, and they start having to make decisions, they're extremely comfortable with the ball. If they're not extremely comfortable with the ball by 13, 14, your likelihood of being, I'm not saying everybody, I'm not saying this is set in stone, I'm not saying they can't develop if they went and spent, but your likelihood of really, really being good, because now you got to make all these decisions with your head up, and if you're not comfortable with the ball, that's soccer right there. So you got to start when you're very young. And the creativity and the ball mastery comes at from 7 to 13.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe even earlier, 6.
Yeah.
Could be 6.
7 to 5.
Yeah.
Kobe Bryant started at 5.
Yeah.
Too many kids get tactical overload way too early.
Correct. Especially here, because American sports are very geared towards, it's very coach centric. So like in basketball, you have timeouts, you have plays. Football, you have plays. You know, lacrosse is a little bit different because it's more free flowing. Soccer is a very free flowing game. It has a structure, but there's a science. I've had coaches. One coach put a whole thing together where he said there's science of soccer and then there's the art of soccer. And the science is defending and angles and all that kind of stuff. And the art of soccer is being able to dribble, create, find good passes, beat people, play little balls over the top, shoot, finish, get into the box, play under pressure. That's the art of soccer. And if you don't, if you're just tactically worried about tactics at a young age, you're not teaching these kids how to become very comfortable with the ball. You can do small-sided tactics. You can play 2v2s, 1v1s, 3v3s, and 4v4s when they're in tight little spaces and they have to get really good with the ball. And that helps them later on. And that's the difference between really good teams is that if they're around the box and they can play around the box, that takes a lot of work to get a team to be able to play around someone else's box and keep the ball and get little attacks on and going. I mean, that's a lot of work. You have to be, because what do you see in most youth teams here? They can't hold the ball up to be able to mount those kind of attacks.
Right.
And you hear parents like, kick it. Well, if you don't teach your back line to play out of the back and play, and they can't hit good passes and they can't do those things. Midfield can't get it. If the midfield can't get it, they can't turn and play strikers in. And if they can't get the whole team up the field, then you got a problem because you can't play another team's half. So you're never going to get goals. You're never going to attack. Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Running laps during soccer practice is lazy coaching.
Waste of time. I mean, the only time I've ever seen that really effective is when we were played so badly and so poorly. We had a coach make us run a bunch of laps to make his point that we weren't going to do that again. Our standard was here. Other than that, I've never been a big proponent of, if you're going to do it, put a soccer ball at their feet. So if they're going around and doing their laps, make them dribble. You know what I mean? Or carry a ball with them, or whatever. But what are you doing laps for? And people tell me, well, fitness. Well, I can get just as much fitness doing 15 minutes of ball skills on. You know how tired kids can get real quickly when you're just doing
quick.
real quick when you're
Outside, inside,
yeah,
outside,
bottom, bum, 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 bum. Yeah, you can get them really tired.
Weaving, boom,
Exactly.
Boom, boom. Oh my God.
Exactly.
Sweating.
So you don't need laps. Get them on a ball. They need touches, and stop thinking about discipline and how you're gonna, because they're not paying it. Get them on a ball. If you don't know how to do that, then come watch some of our sessions. Yeah.
Yeah.
Get them on a ball.
The loudest coach on the field is usually the weakest coach.
Ouch. Very interesting. Yes and no. It depends on how they're being loud.
Okay.
If they're being loud and being strategic about it and getting their points across to help the kids in a strategic manner, maybe not as weak. But if they're just doing this,
That part, yeah.
I watched a video recently. We had
Yeah.
to shut the video off because this parent wouldn't shut up.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good youth game, a girls' youth game, and you could hear this guy just. I was counting the space between his comments. I actually had. I swear to God, this is true. I actually was sitting playing. I had a game one time, and I had my subs over here, and this coach. Pip, 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 pip. Pip, 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 pip. They were actually counting. The subs were counting the seconds between what he was saying and when he'd have a break or pause.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
Yeah. And they were laughing about
They
it.
were laughing about it.
And they were like, and they were like, we can't understand him, coach. He just, and I was like, well, yeah. So maybe you need to go to a communications class after that. Say your point, make your point, and then stop and let the kids play a little bit.
Right.
You know, yeah. And then at halftime, oh, here's another one. Love this. Halftime. And the kids are right, and you're like, it's not going to work. So pick 3 points that you're going to hit on, and make them very clear. I want this, this, and this, and then ask for their opinion. Ask them what they saw in the game. What did you guys see here? Why do you think this happened? Okay, let's talk about. Okay, one of the things I used to talk about all the time was, my first point was technical. I want you guys to take a touch. I don't care how much pressure you're under. Take a touch and try to play. Mm-hmm. And as soon as they would take that touch and then they would find a pass, we would start to play a little bit. The second thing is, I want you to get out of the back faster. I'm just, different points. The third thing, we've got to win all the 50-50 balls. We're getting beat right now. You know what I mean? So we're not winning the 50. Or hey, can we take some more players on? Be more creative. Take players on. Try it out. If you mess it up, you got your whole team behind you. Little things like that. And at halftime, just 3 points. So they understand in their brain, and then they can communicate with you and talk to you, where you're not just blah, 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 touchline Tiger, and he's come on to the halftime talk, and he's like, you know what I mean? They don't understand all that.
Yeah.
And if they're a rec team and they're having fun and they're playing, just simple points for them to get. Hey, yeah, girls or boys, hey, I want you to try a move. And we used to do a thing where, and I had this friend of mine, he was actually a tennis pro, and he brought his daughters to soccer, and he had some very innovative ideas, and he would coach some of our teams. I loved him as a coach. He would bring the huge lollipop like this, and he would have like 2 or 3 of them. And if a kid beat somebody and tried a really good move, like, because we'd be working on all the moves all the time. Let's say they pulled off a V move or a reverse V or something like that, scissors, and they beat somebody, they would get the big lollipop, and in the end, oh my God, they would start trying moves, dude.
Really?
Oh yeah, big time. Yeah, we'd always have a little bag of something, you know,
Yeah,
and just
yeah.
making it fun for them.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, I'm going for hours.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's good points. I like that. Touchline Tiger is funny.
Yeah.
Is Instagram drills are ruining coaching?
I don't 100% agree with that.
Okay.
I think again, there you as a coach can be very discerning, and you could sit there and you could say, okay, does this work for me? You could try it out and see if it's something. Is it an individual session or a team thing?
Mm-hmm.
You know, so let's say you're watching individual coaches, and you're like, you see an exercise that you really really like, and you apply it. Some exercises don't work for me. I've discarded a lot of exercise. I'm like, this doesn't feel like what I really want to get across. It's not my style. It's not my personality. It's boring. It's, you know, it didn't work. So I just said, no, that's out of here. So you have to be very discerning as a coach and say, okay, I like that. Let me try it and see if it works. You know, I tried one the other day that I got right off Instagram that was working on shielding, and it worked like a charm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I pulled it right off. I just saved it, and I was like, that's cool. I like that. You know, and so I don't think it's ruining the game, but I think you have to find, like John Wooden used to say, you have a personality, and then you have to figure out a philosophy that you're going to use. What is your philosophy of coaching? You know, you've all come from some sort of background. You've either played college ball, you played high school soccer, or you played youth soccer, and you're like, yeah, I played youth soccer, but so what's the philosophy you're bringing to your team? You know, I want to teach my team how to be technical. I want them all to be really good on the ball. So we're going to spend a lot of time on technique. I've had a coach come in here one day and he brought the kids to me technically because he didn't want to coach technique. So I was doing the technical side of it. It was pretty smart on his part because he wanted to coach game day stuff. He wanted to teach tactics and teach them how to pass. So he brought him here, and I suggested to him, spend a little bit more time on the technical side. They still need a lot of touches, you know. So that was my philosophy. My philosophy is we're going to get very, very technical. We're going to get good on the ball. We're going to be a team that pushes up out of the back fast. We're going to win the 50-50 balls. We're going to give them little challenges in the game. We're going to try to take players on and be creative. I wanted that kind of little team. Yeah. So what are you trying to teach? You know, what's your philosophy? You know, and so you have to figure that out. Yeah. So I don't see why looking at a drill online and going, I really like that, and then you try it. If it doesn't work for you, discard it. You know.
Yeah. No.
I mean, some of it's crap, but you know.
Yeah. I've seen some.
We've had criticism about some of our stuff.
Yeah.
You know, they're saying that, you know, what are you trying to do there? But on a 20-second soundbite, can you really discern this coach or what they're trying to do? Sure. That's difficult. Yeah. So I'm not as overly critical.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I agree. Like I've seen some Instagram stuff where I'm like, especially now because I've gotten into more coaching, so I'm like, this seems very like it's for Instagram. You know, like pops. It's for like to entertain and all that stuff.
Yeah. Are you watching an actual coach, or you're actually watching just some like trick or move or boom? Because
are you watching like a guy who's trying to get views? Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So I agree on that part, but some of it is really good.
And I like some of the ones that get views. Like there's one guy that does a lot of the moves, and they're good.
Yeah,
I mean, could you use all those?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe. But no, that's awesome. I wanna get into this thing where every week that's the end of Coach or Cat.
Sure.
So a little fun little segment where I think every time we do the podcast we kind of give our audiences a drill or a game of the week.
Okay. Okay.
So if you have anything in your mind right now, I would like to hear. Just
what
maybe
level?
Definitely youth soccer. Okay. We'll stick to like maybe somewhere in the middle ground of like where you can also do it with older kids, like maybe 15, 16-year-olds. But yeah, somewhere on the youth soccer area.
Yeah, there's one I like. It's a 1v1 game. I put 2 cones down, about 6 to 8 yards apart, depending on the age group, and I have one kid on this side, one kid on that side. Okay. The first part of the exercise is the attacking player. You assign one player. You can do this in little multiple grids. So you can set up multiple grids. So you assign one player to be attacking, one player to be defending, and they have to fake them out. And then they have to try and get their foot down next to one of the cones, either left or right, because you got the 2 cones. Right. And if the defender can get their foot down at the same time as the attacking player, no point. But if the attacking player jukes them and gets over there and gets rid, so what you're trying to teach is body motion. I think soccer's like one big giant game of tag without the ball. Tag is with the ball, sorry. So then they have to come back to the middle to start again. So I do 1 minute game. So it's either 30 seconds on each side, depending on how old they are, or it's 1 minute on each side. Now you've got stations, right, like this. So if that kid wins so they do 3 rounds. So if they win their round, they move up a station. If they lose their round, they move down. And I call this station the dungeon, and I call that the castle.
I still have to be
No, yeah, it's a good one. No, it'd be great for your.
Yeah, only one domination.
You asked me about it.
Yeah.
Okay, and so and then you play 5 rounds. So whoever's in the castle at the top of the castle at the end wins.
Oh.
And so what I would do is also to just be very careful, because if someone's in the dungeon, they might get upset.
Right.
But what I say to those kids is, hey, look, you need to work on your 1v1 stuff. But then you can add the ball, right? So you do 5 rounds with no ball, and then you add the ball. So now what they have to do is make a move and get to either right or left and put their foot on the ball. If the defender gets their foot there, so now you've added the ball in. And they have to try and juke them with their little moves, and then do a scissor or whatever.
Yeah.
And so you will demonstrate it, show them how to do it. Again, don't just tell, show, right? Show them how to do it, demonstrate the game, right? So they understand, and then from there they can play.
That's cool. Do you have a name for it? Dungeons and Dragons.
Dungeons and Castles and Dungeons. I don't know. Yeah, you could come up with 50 different names for it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe it's like, these days it would probably be like, what's a good one? You'd probably put, who would be at the top? I don't know. What are the games they're playing right now? Well, you can't really, can you? Because it's all design stuff now.
Yeah, it's all video games.
Yeah.
So that's why I said Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, you
like
find something.
Yeah. We'll let you guys use the name.
Yeah.
Really come up with the name for it. Leave it in the comments.
Yeah.
What you come up with.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So another we'll jump on a different note.
Mm-hmm.
I know we've done build a master player.
Mm-hmm.
I want to talk about building a master coach. Obviously, a little segment where we can use we'll go different topics, so let's say man management, tactical IQ, technical IQ, things like that. And you give me whose brain would you pick apart? And these can be coaches coaches professional. And I would stick to just soccer coaches for the sake of the game. But if you have somebody in mind, hey, this guy could coach soccer. He doesn't coach soccer, but he could coach soccer.
Sure.
Throw it out there.
Sure.
And I'll throw you out mine. Okay? So first one I would say is man management. Who would you take?
Oh, Alex Ferguson.
Okay.
Yeah, no doubt. Marcello Lippi, another one. Yeah. Genius of a coach.
Yeah, genius.
Yeah. He would sit there with a cigar on the sideline and not say a thing. So you think about how calm and how good those players were.
Right.
What he had done to get them into those situations. Because he and Ferguson, when Wenger's another one. Man management, Ferguson. Just understanding the human condition and understanding when to say the right things, when to kick somebody in the butt, when to put your arm around somebody, when to motivate the group, how to motivate the group. So he would do a thing where he would go and pick on the best player in front of everybody else, even though they played well. He would tell them it was crap and this, that, and the next thing, and blah, blah, blah. And so everybody else is going, holy smokes, he's picking on him.
Yeah.
And he played. And then the guy would be going,
Yeah. What do they call it? The United players when he used
hair
to
dryer treatment.
Yeah, give him the hair dryer treatment.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Man, I love United.
Yeah.
Oh, what a club.
Yeah.
That's so fun.
So just man management and knowing and bringing young players through and letting them have chances and understanding how to, he just had a knack for it, just an understanding of it. And Lippi had the same thing. And you'd watch those Italian training sessions and all the little things that they did. It was crazy. Yeah. Possession game.
I had a feeling you were going to say Ferguson. That's why I went with Carlo Ancelotti.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ancelotti's really good man.
Real Madrid, look how they are now
Yeah.
versus where they were with him.
Yeah.
Even though they had, I would say, maybe less pedigree players.
Sure.
But he just knew how to manage those guys.
Sure.
The egos in the club.
Absolutely.
All that stuff. So
Yeah.
I think
There's been a few youth coaches around here that I've seen that were really good man managers, that I learned a lot from. You're always picking up stuff. I mean, you have to bring your personality to whatever it is that you're going to do.
Next one I have is tactical IQ.
Yeah. What do you want to know? Like, what's the
a coach that you think tactically is, genius.
Like you can say Mourinho. I mean, he had a defensive style, but he wasn't giving up goals. And then when he got a hold of a team and they were humming, I mean, that Porto team and
that Chelsea 04-05 team,
and then Inter Milan. Inter Milan team was insanely good. Yeah. I mean, when he left that team, there were players crying.
Yeah.
So that tells you.
That tells you a lot.
Yeah. So yeah, I would say Mourinho. Obviously Pep.
Of course.
That's
what I thought you were going to say Pep Guardiola.
Yeah.
The first one comes when it comes to tactics.
Yeah. Insane.
Yeah, insane.
But then if you look at his, I mean, he goes
over
for
tactics.
He goes for a certain. You'll hear him say, "I look for dribblers."
Yeah.
Even my center backs and players that can dribble and manipulate the ball. That's an interesting thing there. One more maybe. You have to say Klopp too. Gegenpressing.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Liverpool now versus what they were under Klopp.
Yeah.
They were a machine under Klopp.
Yeah.
Now they're not as good.
Yeah. I think for me, and I haven't watched much, but I used to dive in YouTube, everything.
Yep.
Johan Cruyff.
Oh yeah.
Then he create certain tactics.
Oh yeah.
Football.
Oh yeah. And he learned from Reynes Michaels.
Yeah. So
total football.
Yeah.
Michaels was.
Yeah.
Cruyff brought everything to Barcelona. He brought the Dutch system, the tiki-taka, the rondos, the Dutch. Basically interjected a lot of the Dutch system into Barcelona and the academy and dropped down in, because the Dutch academies that Ajax academy is insane. I mean, 8 years old and up,
doing crazy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say him and then Luis Enrique.
Yeah.
Especially right now.
Yeah.
Those tactics.
Yeah.
The things they've been doing. Have you seen what they've been doing where they kick off
I haven't watched it too.
So he's doing this thing where the goalkeeper always sends the ball to the other half and kicks it out. So what they do is they start by fully being in the other team's half.
Yeah.
And staying there.
Yeah.
The keeper literally does the incomplete pass. He'll kick it out of the stadium.
Right.
Onto so that they get a free throw, and then but the team is already in their half. So
I've heard coaches do that.
They're opening for a mistake. That is crazy.
I worked with a coach that liked that.
Yeah.
He would bang the ball into the other team's half and then press.
Even from starting in the game from the half line, Vitinha just kicks it into their half.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I would never I just didn't think I would see that, but
yeah.
This one you'll like. Player development.
Okay. Anything specific?
Who do you think is the
best developer?
He's that is a coach that develops players.
Wenger was one of them.
Mm-hmm.
He had a knack of getting players technically and tactically sound, but most of the development comes from their assistants and youth coaches. Right. So you don't really see them. You don't see all the work that's being done behind the scenes, because the head guy is a manager, but he has to have a staff, and there's got to be technical guys that run the technical components in that, and I think we don't see those guys.
Right.
We don't know who they are.
Right.
I listened to the one. Atletico Madrid had the one fitness coach, and he was an ex-rugby guy, and he would get that team so fit because they figured that they weren't going to be top of the league, and they had to be able to handle defending a little bit, and so you had to have incredible amounts of fitness. That's one, but I think it's a lot comes from the youth coaches and taking that talent and molding it. You had what was the guy's name? Was it Eric Steele at United? He was the youth coach that all the class of '92 talked about. He was the guy that built those teams for Ferguson.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's always someone behind the scenes that's doing a lot of that work,
right.
And you see it. I've seen private lessons with Messi where he's in a little beach,
right.
like a little sand pit, and he's got that trainer there that's helping him go, set up and go through all these little exercises. We're kind of like that,
yeah.
To me, those guys, they're unsung.
Yeah.
You don't see them.
Right.
You're not gonna, you know.
Yeah. It was a good point to bring them out because nobody talks about assistant coaches and
Right.
background coaches and B team
Right.
coaches. But for me, it's BSO.
Oh, great one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna say it, boss.
Yeah. It just didn't catch my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
Think about developing players.
Yeah.
No one's better.
100%. Yeah.
That man would develop you.
100%. He's just a mad junkie, man.
Mad junkie, you
Yeah.
know?
I know.
What a crazy coach. I'm missing him.
Yeah. No,
I miss him.
he's not in the game anymore, is he?
No, not really.
No.
No.
Yeah.
miss him every day.
His tactical style was, what he did for Leeds was insane.
Insane, boss.
Yeah.
Look at where what's his
Yeah.
name is,
Yeah.
Barcelona.
Yeah.
He's thriving,
Yeah.
He's a crazy player.
Yeah, no, you're very right about that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't see that head guy he's almost a rarity
Yeah.
because the head guy is not going to go and do all that stuff,
Yeah.
but he's got assistants and people that handle that, and it's how he picks them, you know. So yeah,
Like I don't know,
but Bielsa, yeah, he was on it.
Yeah.
He was the dude.
That sounds.
Yeah.
I would say maybe we can talk about. Let's do two more. Discipline.
Yeah, integral part of the game. How you build it. Is that what you're asking? How you build it?
Yeah, I was just more like what is a coach that like okay, if you're not disciplined, you're not doing anything.
Well, I mean, part of it's not being lazy, right? You got to turn up to your session early.
Yeah.
You got to get set up. Like we try to get in here and set the cones up. While the kids are doing that little warm up thing,
Right,
we're putting the cones down.
Right.
We're making sure they're ready to go. We're
Right.
doing, and if you have a team, you need to be there 20, 30 minutes before the session
Right.
and getting set up.
Right.
Don't turn up. I mean, if you want to win your parents over and win your team over, they need to walk in and you're standing there and all your stuff's ready to go. And I think that tells them that you're not here to play. Like, I mean, it could be fun. You could be doing a lot of fun stuff, but the sessions are structured, ready to go.
Sure.
You've got your plan in your head. You've sat down beforehand. You've written out. I used to sit down at a coffee shop. I'd go at like 2 or 3, sit down and write out my plans and what I wanted to work on. You take notes during the game, and then I would get there 30 minutes before and then start setting up my stuff. And when they walked in, so some parent came early, I would bring the kid in and start playing little games or doing technical with them. They could start playing off the wall or whatever it was, So I think part of your discipline as a coach, and then you're there 30 to 45 minutes before every game, depending on the age group, and you're setting up your warm-up, After practice, you take notes and see who's done well, and you're thinking about how your lineups are going to go, and you're prepping yourself. So those are all little disciplines as a coach I think are really important, that you're constantly thinking about the game and how you can help your kids. And when you do that and you bring value to your team, that's going to help your players grow big time. Yeah.
And then I would say, and a coach that comes into your mind with the idea of discipline. He's a disciplined coach.
I've worked with tons of them. They're always there, ready to go. I mean, I don't have a specific.
Any professional?
I mean, all of those pros, if they're any good, are disciplined.
Yeah.
But then at the next level up, they have assistants that set up all the cones and do everything.
Right.
But they have to plan out those sessions, and they have to tell them what they want, and they have to organize that, and they have to. So I'm sure they have staff meetings, and they're going to go. We're going to hit this today, and we're going to do this. And so they're really, really busy. But yeah, they don't handle the. It's going to be those assistants again, unless it's Bielsa.
I would say Sir Alex is a big discipline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
think
and then getting your kids to understand what it is to work hard and to train and practice well and do, all those little things are, very disciplined.
And then the last one, winning mentality.
Yeah. So that has to be developed. You get this little group of ragtaggers, and you have to teach them. I think that's going to come in training and building them up and getting them to understand the game. If they're a really good team already, there's going to be certain situations that they run into that you have to teach them.
Right.
And I think everything's forged in the fire.
Right.
So when they go play a game, do they all get there on time? A winning mentality is your whole team shows up right on time, and they go through the warm up and they're on it.
Ready.
Right, they're crisp, and that has to be taught. and then you're building a culture there. You know what I mean? And they're getting themselves. They have their water. They have their shin guards on. They have their ready to go. They're there early, and their warm up is crisp and sharp. And then there's going to be different situations that come up in a game where they have to learn what the winning mentality is. Let's say they give up a goal with 5 minutes to go in the half. That's a great teaching point, guys. We don't give up goals with 5 minutes to go in the half, because now you're down 1-0, 2-1, 3-1. And bad news. Now we got to start the second half, and you don't give up goals. Little winning mentality, things like that. Not giving up. We fight to the very end. If I tell my team the standard is here, we don't drop. If we drop, I'm the gatekeeper. You play up here. If you lose 1-0 and you played up here, I don't have a problem with that. We'll fight through and figure out how to win those games.
Sure.
But if you lose 1-0 or 2-0 and you've played here, then we have to deal with it. You know what I mean? So that's a winning mentality. How do I, and then can we turn that around and where they start winning those games? I had a team one time down 3-0 at half. They beat that team 4-3 in the second half. It was a winning mentality because they never gave up. They stayed to the course. They kept getting goals, and they never gave up any goals in the second half. And so that's how you build teams.
Yeah.
It's forged in the fire, man. They have to play these games to learn, and some parents don't get that. They think that, well, they didn't play well today. It's like, yeah, now we got to teach them. I can't see what to teach until we play.
Yeah.
I can't tell you what we need to hit till we've had a game. And then I can say, oh my, we're in trouble here. We need this to be better. We need that to be better. So.
And the coach that makes me think of the winning. And I know it's not like Zizou, when he coached Real Madrid. I've never seen a more win mentality from Real Madrid like that.
Sure.
Down Wolfsburg, okay, hat-trick next Ronaldo.
Sure. Yeah.
Down Bayern, okay, 5-4.
Sure.
Like that winning, that treble of a Champions League seasons. That's winning mentality, right?
Absolutely.
There. It's a winning team.
Ferguson had it.
Yeah.
Down 2-1. It's Fergie time, man.
It's Fergie time.
Yeah. Well, any good coach like that, they have a way of getting their teams to fight.
Think about the Bayern Man United final.
There you go.
Yeah. That was a great final.
Yeah.
I watched that
I
final.
know exactly where I was. I was downtown Austin at Bedeau's.
Really, boss?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I wasn't born yet.
I can remember that day because I was with all the Irish guys and English guys in there, and we were watching all big United fans.
You're so lucky.
And Wolfgang was the only Munich fan there.
Oh yeah, of course. Oh, he was watching the game.
Yeah, he was.
How old are you? 99.
99. I was what? 99. I had to be 30 something.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Also, wasn't born. Isn't it crazy the year they win the treble?
Yeah.
I was born.
96. I was what? 26. Yeah, 29, 28, 29, 30.
What?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
You got to see greatness though.
Oh yeah.
Ole Gunnar
I
Solskjaer.
don't know.
That's crazy game.
Beckham.
Yeah. What a game. Thought we were gonna lose it.
Yeah.
Well. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Final messages.
Yeah, you have to. I mean, you have to teach all of that, and if you get your kids technically sound and playing really well and doing really well in 1v1s and good at 2v2 and 3v3 and all these little games, and that's going to really build for the future.
Yeah.
Get them in little 5v5 tournaments and 3v3 tournaments and anything to get on a ball, indoor, futsal, anything to get on a ball over and over and over and over and over and over again, where they're having fun and they're learning. That really good player, that kid that loves the game, will thrive in that.
Yeah.
If you're just, if you're just a yeller and screamer and that's all you do at training, good luck keeping those kids.
What was it? Sideline?
Touchline tiger.
Touchline tiger.
Yeah.
I'm going to remember.
Don't be a touchline tiger.
Don't be a TT.
Yeah.
Touchline tiger. All right.
Yeah.
That's awesome, boss. I'm going to remember that one.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you guys for tuning in into episode 5 for Training Ground. If this
Appreciate
episode has helped you, share it with another coach, trainer, or soccer parent trying to develop players the right way, because that's what we do here. And if you want more episodes on session designs, coaching psychology, philosophy, player development, game-based training, and any real coaching conversations, make sure you follow, subscribe, like the comments. The more support, the better we can do. We'll catch you guys in the next episode of Training Ground. Anything else, boss?
No, sir.
Yeah.
Peace.
Yep. And then camps are coming, and all of that info will be in the description below. And then, yeah, we'll see you guys here. Bye-bye. Have a great
guys.
day.